Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, and this is the second video of the channel, and this is going to be about all the games that I've worked on all through college, my AAA experience with God of War. I won't be talking about the 1047 games because I'm not legally allowed to yet, and then all the games I've made on the side after God of War, and even as of recently a few months ago. And the main lesson I hope to drive home in this video is that every side project you work on doesn't have to be a finished, polished game. Now, I think you should have a finished, polished game before you start working, before you want to sell games commercially, even maybe 2 or 3 polished ones. But when you're just starting out and you want to figure out a health system or how a character moves or anything like that, I think it's really beneficial to just spin up a project and grab some free assets online and just throw them in and start working it that way. That way you get to know a little bit more about the process, but you don't have the stress or worry about finishing a full thing. If you want to finish it, that's great, but go in with the intention of just learning about this one aspect and you'll go pretty far in your game dev journey. So yeah, I hope this helps, and I'm excited for you to see all the things I've helped contribute to. While Cosmic Chef wasn't technically the first game I worked on in college, it is one of the earliest ones I could find footage of. And in this game, I was the producer, so I made tasks and scheduled out the work to make sure everything was done, so no technical work was done. And this game, as you can see, it was kind of a cooking mama or any kind of slicing cooking game where you were on a intergalactic cooking show, and there was all these different mechanics like cooking and plucking and things of that nature. So you would have to do those events and then make a dish at the end, and then you would present it to the judges and they would give you a score. And there's also kind of this language, as you can see in the top left, kind of like Simlish, where we just sped up and chopped up different audio files to create that voice for the aliens. So this was a ton of fun to work on, and it taught us a lot. Now, this game was a ton of fun to make. It's called Escape Artist, and one person plays as the thief trying to steal the paintings, and your teammates or enemies will try to either help or hinder you by hitting different prompts that you can see translate to in-game events. So someone can close the door and someone can open the door, and this was a ton of fun. I really enjoyed it. A little bit of context I forgot to mention to this was that this was part of a Ubisoft Game Lab competition while we were up in Montreal. So we actually showed it off to Ubisoft executives, and we're competing against other schools to make this game kind of a semester-long game jam, if you will. And we actually got to present it on a big stage, and we were nominated for 4 out of the 8 awards. We didn't win any, but that's still a huge accomplishment to be nominated for half of the awards, and we were very proud of that. So this game, it was called Battle Chefs, and it was a MOBA kind of MMO game in our senior year of college for our capstone project. And we learned a lot from this, and I think we bit off more than we can chew, but I do think we could have achieved it. You play as Guinchale, this pig, who will go around the map, and you will collect different items around the map, cooking ingredients. As you can see here, mushrooms, trees, potatoes, anything of that nature. And you would go into the middle to cook them, and then once they were cooked, you can go to the board to then get different abilities and combinations to enhance your either weapon or your character. So as you can see here, there are different abilities, such as like a serving stew, where he can do damage and push back those around him, or you can have an explosive serving, which is a large explosion. So different ingredients will translate to different abilities, and the abilities will be on the bottom of the screen. And we had a few different game modes: King of the Hill, Team Deathmatch, and I think this would have worked a lot better if we just stuck to one game mode in hindsight, but it was still a ton of fun to make, and it's still one of my favorite projects. Next up is Voyage, and this was the second senior capstone game that we worked on. And this one was also a real fun game to work on. Again, I was a producer on this, so I don't think I had anything technical to contribute, but I'd made a lot of spreadsheets to make sure we had everything in the rooms that we wanted. And this game was about puzzle manipulation. So it was a puzzle game that you had to manipulate this box that you got from your corporate office, kind of like a Stanley Parable theme. And the idea was you were going to win a trip on a cruise, and you did, but the cruise was actually just this cruise in a puzzle box that you completed at your desk. And each room had different puzzles and mechanics, and we really wanted to bring back the tactile feel and the discoverability and fun that you would have in games where if you clicked on anything, anything would have happened. You could click on the plant and it would move and all that stuff. And there was also a fun meter on the right. You were having more fun whenever you completed a room that would tell your boss, like, hey, I'm having fun. And yeah, it was a funny concept and really great execution. This is also on Steam, and I'll link it below if you're interested. I also forgot to mention that we actually showed this game at PAX East during my senior year of college, and that was a lot of fun just showing it to everybody for 8 hours, and I really learned a lot from that experience. Next up, we have God of War Ragnarok, and this was the first game I contributed to outside of college. I was the production coordinator for the camera design team and system design team, so just making tasks and scheduling and things like that. I'll make a video later on talking more about my work, but yeah, this was absolute pleasure to work on. I worked on it for 2.5 years, and yeah, I'll always remember it. Now, this is the first game I made kind of on my own. All these assets are from the Unity asset store, and I think this was actually a create with code exercise. But the idea of this was the delivery driver, as you play in the car, would go and pick up packages that were those peas, and you would deliver it to this guy here. And you would have a few seconds to deliver each package, and if you didn't, the game would end, but I didn't get that far. I did make the guy and those little arrows you see in the bottom left there to make it go faster. So yeah, this was my first kind of foray into programming, and I wish I would have done a lot more into it, but I just wanted to get a feel for Unity and what it could do at the time. So even though I didn't do anything with this game that was major, it still taught me a lot about how things interact and work together, especially on a programmatic level. And yeah, I didn't think I spent too much time on this, so it's not much more to say. Next up is Bad Build. This was the kind of first game jam that I participated in where I contributed something such as programming or animation. Now, this was really fun. I did this with my friend Anthony, and he was the main programmer on the project. This is for the Ludum Dare, I don't remember which number at this point, but this whole idea was that you would play as a QA tester, and you just joined this new company, and you have to play test the latest build. But of course, there are a ton of bugs in the game. So as you'll see, the first level is kind of just a tutorial level of, hey, just walk and shoot. And that ship right there on the left is what I actually drew and animated in Sprite, as well as the boxes. Yeah, this was a ton of fun. I felt this was a very meaningful project to me in my game dev journey because I didn't think I'd be able to do any art or animation, but I was able to, and I added some sound effects as well. I think I found those on freesound.org, and this was a really fun project, as I said. And if we fast forward after this level to the first kind of puzzle, if you will, this is where it gets interesting. So in this level number 2, you can't shoot to the right and you can't touch a box. If you do, it's game over. So there I just shot, it ended. Shoot to the left, it's fine. So you have to try and get to the exit without touching any boxes and only shooting to the left. So yeah, Anthony handled all that programming stuff, but it was a pretty big challenge, honestly, and I was super happy with the theme and what we were able to do. I don't remember the theme of the game jam, but just what we were able to encapsulate and just demonstrate in this game, I was very proud of it, and it's still a game that sticks with me today. I'll put this on a link in the description. This is on itch.io if you wanted to play it. This is another create with code game. Again, very simple. The premise is you're a delivery driver, and the more boxes you hit, the more your health will go down. And over time, I believe your health will also regenerate if you don't hit anything. But if you get to 0, it should have been game over. But again, I didn't spend too much time on this. I like showing these kind of projects because whenever we think of game projects, we think of just a finished product that you can share to friends and everything like that. But sometimes the project is just a jumping off point. You know, it's just something that you want to test or you want to get familiar with. So that was kind of this project for me, was just messing around with health and hit points and seeing what I could do. So I think I did learn a decent amount of this, but yeah, nothing too valuable came out from my experience other than just, you know, working within Unity and just keeping up that work. Now, this is a game that is pretty much Flappy Bird, but I actually followed the Game Maker Toolkit video. I forget what it's titled, something about working in Unity, but I'll link it down below. But that video was really transformative for me in the way I view Unity and how I view a game object and what I want to do within a game object. You know, how I want to manipulate it with color and vectors and velocity and all that stuff. So I'll link that in the description because it was super helpful to me. And yeah, I think I made this in a day or two. And yeah, it was really fun to learn. And again, I just kept building more skills. And the thing I learned most about this one was just putting everything together to make it a cohesive experience. Now this game is Truth Be Told, but it's actually in Unreal. I started actually making Truth Be Told last January, in the Unreal 4 engine. And while I did make some good progress, as you'll see in this video, I actually decided that Unreal was kind of overkill for what I wanted to do, and I was more comfortable in Unity with all the past projects I made. So I could learn Unreal and I could try and make the game, but it would have taken longer, and I got actually more discouraged over time because I didn't know as much in Unreal. So I switched over to Unity and I ported everything over to there, which is kind of what we see now. And yeah, I've been working on this for a little over, technically a year. I did take a few months off from working on it, but cohesively I've been working on it for a few months, overall a year or so. And yeah, it's just trying to find that motivation. This game is called Cuckoo Climb, and the theme for this game jam was called Time is of the Essence. And the premise that we came up with was you are two cuckoo clock pieces who have fallen from the top of the cuckoo clock all the way to the bottom. And you have to make your way back up to the top within 60 seconds while dodging various objects, such as gears and clock hands that have fallen. And once you make it to the top, then you win. Ideally, we would have liked to have an animation play that says, like the cuckoo animation, but we didn't have enough time. And in this project, I worked on the programming and in this, the gameplay elements. So I worked on, I think, the gears moving, that platform changing color and disappearing after a few seconds, the timer timing down, and yeah, whenever you get hit by an object, you it's game over. And I had a few other people work on me with this. My fiance actually did a lot of pretty much all the pixel art, and I had two other friends help with the different programming aspects. So yeah, this was like my first in-person team game jam, and I really enjoyed it and took a lot away from it. Now, the final game I will show off is called Sketch Quest. It is with those same people that we made Cuckoo Climb with, actually. And we used the Polygon Cinti Studio, I think, heist pack for this. And the premise of this is the theme for this year's Global Game Jam was Make Me Laugh. And we wanted to play on the Mad Libs style of gameplay. So we actually wanted to do a drawing and an audio section. The drawing section would prompt the user to draw any object on their computer, and then it would place that object into the world. So you can draw your own piece to steal and things like that. We got the drawing working, but we couldn't finish the tech in time to implement it into the world. So instead what we did was we actually made the user create their own sound effects, and those little sound icons that you saw on the laser, they were actually able to go by the laser and you would hear your own sound effect happen. I couldn't capture it for this video because I needed two people to do it, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. I did the gameplay programming, so that guard going back and forth, I learned how to do that. I learned about the I also did the, like, if you get the cone, it's game over. The character movement, I think I worked on a little bit. And yeah, again, it was a lot of fun. I learned a lot of programming and how to make various things. And yeah, that was it. And those are all the games that I've worked on so far. So I really hope you enjoyed it and you were able to take away a few lessons and just see kind of my process through the years. And yeah, I have had a lot of fun with each of these projects in a different way. And I'm just so excited to see what the future brings, which reminds me the next video I'll be coming out with, hopefully next week, maybe a week and a half, will be the second devlog in the Truth Be Told series to see kind of what I've been up to and what are the next steps from there. So as always, I really appreciate you checking out the video and I hope you have a great day.